in your opinion, like when did you start to see like, oh, this agent play is going to be real?
Well, at first, the obvious one was the agentic interface. The UX of it exists today of multiple tabs, which you and I know is just a graphical view of the underlying tables in your database schema, right?
That's it.
We're literally, the UXs that we know are people hunting and pecking across an Oracle database. So obviously it's the wrong navigation. Somebody's trying to do something, but what somebody would have to do is like, I want to do this. Okay, now I have to remember how to hunt and peck across the software application to go do this.
Totally.
Whereas if I understood the schema, and if you solve a certain set of jobs, then if somebody knows this, AI is very good if you train to translating down to a set of actions.
This episode is brought to you by TestBox.
I'm really glad to have you here today because I think you have been someone who's very influential in my career. And I don't know how much you know that. Because we got introduced, I think, through Josh Arnoff years ago.
Yeah.
And I think even when I was at Pre-Sales Collective, I would, talk to you, pick your brain, understand, and you've just always been a wealth of knowledge. And I think today it's just like finally an opportunity to get you on camera.
The pre-sales folks, when I was running product at Salesforce, those were my peeps.
Yeah, those were your peeps,
So I was
right?
a deep love for the pre-sales folks.
Yeah.
And now we'll get to it. There's a lot of opportunity for pre-sales folks in the new go-to-market playbook.
Let's dig into it. So you just mentioned your Salesforce ties. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're at, and kind of your journey that got you here.
And so, one, I'm old as dirt, young in energy. I use a tonal, so it doesn't look that way. Keeps me young. Oh, by the way, send me the referral credit, but it's the best product I've ever tried. Game changing.
What is it called?
Tonal.
Okay, tonal.
It's the gym that goes to your wall, hardware and software. But it's the best hardware software combo I've ever seen. I thought it was Tesla, but the tonal doesn't do submits or anything. It's very good.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. It's game changing. And if 12 people use it and they've used it and they go, oh. And so just like in the world of AI, UX and taste matters.
Okay.
So you get it. So today I'm a managing director of Bonfire Ventures. We are a real venture firm. We're not a late stage financial asset aggregator that just raises billions of dollars and makes our money on fees. We make our money on carry.
Yeah.
So our incentives are aligned with their founders. I didn't realize that when I was young, companies went public at 20 million, now it's 500. So our incentives are aligned with founders for the long run.
Yeah.
I've been a venture capitalist for now 6-7 years. Prior to that, I know a lot of VCs, I used to be an operator, like they were an SDR for 2 years. I was an operator. Was at a company called Siebel Systems, which right around the corner from where you're shooting this in San Mateo, which was the fastest growing company in the on-premise software era. And then I was an early executive at Salesforce.com, 2003 area. We had like 10 reps, and I was there for 12 years where I built out the go-to-market playbook. So that was the first playbook. There was no go-to-market playbook. In fact, I was going to get out of software.
You were?
Because my last honest job I had, this is a very honest job. The last honest job I had, I ran a factory in Milpitas, California.
Okay.
It was really hard. And when I got into software, I was like, well, I remember going to see TJ Rogers, who was a Dartmouth alum at Cypress Semiconductor, and he was, young people, you either make shit or you sell shit or you bullshit. And I was neither. I was an operator. And so in this on-premise world, but I decided when I looked at Salesforce, I was like, oh God, you can sell software direct to every segment of the market. So if you can create an operational machine that pairs up the segment, the product, the packaging, your inbound, the fulfillment, and the success, you could build a machine. That was the thesis. So we wrote that first playbook.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. There was no blog. There was no pavilion I could go to. We were just making the shit up on the fly. Then ran operations and then ran product for them. Inmate run the asylum. When we just had Sales Cloud and helped launch multi-billion-dollar product lines in Service Cloud, et cetera, with the platform and App Exchange, basically made the bet to be a metadata customization platform. Then I went to run a startup with a founder because I felt like I was a fraud working for two billionaires that worked for Larry Ellison. And it was incredibly hard. Trails of tears and I was selling into recruiting. Now that company's at 100 million revenue now. It's on its way, but that was really hard. And then I transitioned to being a venture capitalist. We invest at the seed stage. Companies have 300K to $1 million in revenue and write 3 to 4 million checks. And then we like to think of ourselves as the lunch pail kids. Like we come and we go to work.
I love that.
With the founders.
I love
so that's who I am, where I am, et cetera. And then just on the AI front, I've been talking to you this for about like 18 months.
Yeah, we have.
Because for me, having been in software, the first software that I used to, it was a TRS-80. I was a dork in high school. I coded in Atari Basic. And then it was like that movie Can't Buy Me Love. And then I started being a tutor to like the hot girl. Then we started dating. So it was this weird thing, but I'm a dork. And my first job out of college was green screen, green screen. I was the kid who brought in PCs.
Wow.
Right. And so I've seen the software interface and the value it delivers from green screen to PCs to client server to cloud and to now.
Yeah.
And what was very interesting in the last year and a half, I was like, oh my God, we can actually build software that actually is helpful.
Yeah.
Help somebody do their job. And then as I started to realize that, I started to realize that all of my blogs and go-to-market and how to build a team and all that was becoming irrelevant. So it gives me an opportunity to sort of remake myself.
Yeah, good for you.
And actually have to think about what answer I give somebody. Like, how do I hire an SDR? Well, Yeah, so that's long answer to a short question.
I love it. No, it's fantastic because you covered a couple of things that I wanted to cover, but good on you for reinventing yourself, right? Because some of these folks who've been running the playbook, right? They don't want to run the playbook in this new world. It's too hard. It's a challenge, right? I've talked to executives who say, look, I'm going extinct and I've made a good career and I'm okay with that, right? One thing that I want to highlight that I think is so unique by having you on this is that you wrote that original SaaS playbook.
Correct.
Talk to me about that experience. You didn't have the blogs and all the access to information that we have today. What was that like?
Well, to be clear, we had a huge advantage at Salesforce. People are like, I want to be like Salesforce. We had two unique innovations, right? We had a different economic model. You didn't pay up front. And then ironically, it tumultuated us and the rest. But it was pay by the month, like renting.
Yeah.
And we had a different deployment model, right? And before Salesforce, for old people, you would buy software on a CD. You would spend $1 or whatever for it. You would buy database servers, et cetera, consultants, all this stuff. You would spend millions to change it. And then if the company had an update, they'd ship you a new CD and you lost all the customizations. So the metadata customization model where you could roll out improvements to the product that they were still using that never went down, that was an amazing innovation. Look, I think that playbook, based on what those innovations allowed us to do, was allowed us to go after multiple segments. Whereas historically, you either sold enterprise, one of the corporate jet closed big deals, or you sold through the VAR down market, the channel. You never sold direct down market.
Yeah. Wow.
So it just allowed us to really look and do segmentation and look at a market and try to figure out, it was an operator's playbook. What is the right intersection of what is the product for this subset in terms of their sophistication or not?
Yeah.
What's the right way to get demand? Is it outbound or inbound?
Yeah.
What is that sales conversation? And look at the economics of what somebody could pay you and sort of orient around that. That was a lot of that playbook.
Yeah.
And then look, the rest of the playbook was like taking candy from a baby. The on-premise vendors, weren't taking the customer service market, the marketing. So it was a lot easier.
Right.
It's not like today where you're one of 100 vendors. So like the double playbook was written in retrospect for the first cloud vendors that were the first cloud vendor against an on-premise taking candy from a baby with no competition. And now we've said that, and VC was limited, and now there's 50 people in a category. It's much harder.
Totally. So many things to break down there, but I'm curious, right? Like in your introduction, you mentioned, all the things you've been telling people for 20 years is changing, right?
Yeah.
What was the moment that you realized, like, oh wow, this is a real seismic shift? Because you've been a part of multiple shifts.
Honestly, I was sitting down. I wrote a blog. I've got this Substack, and look, it's long form. It's not for PR.
It's amazing, by the way.
It's written,
amazing.
It's written for founders or investors. It's long form. It's how I think. I was really sitting down with Will Moxley, who was at Siebel as a product manager, worked for me in the sales cloud at Salesforce, and he is at a property management company called Appfolio. It's software for property managers.
Yeah.
Who don't want to use software. And that product It expanded over time. It was an ERP. It did all this stuff. And if you looked at it, it was tab, sub-tab, but just, a CRUD database gone crazy. And he was like, yeah, well, I reorganized my schema. I made the LLMs aware of my schema. And instead of somebody clicking and hunting and pecking across the application, it's just going to talk to the agent and it's going to do the work for them.
Yeah.
And I started to see that something that would take like 10 minutes for somebody to go do, they're just trying to do their job.
Right.
They could do in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And the clicked out of my head was like, oh my God, for the first time in my career, we might have software that doesn't suck. That software actually helps you do your job better, faster.
Yeah.
And as good as Salesforce and the rest of it, there's still CRUD databases. You put stuff in, you log your activity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's useful from a process or dashboard, but in terms of making you more successful, forget about it. And at Siebel, on-premise was so hard to deploy. You said, okay, this is what salespeople get. And then with the cloud, we're like, oh, you get REST APIs and customization. So now the average rep uses 12 pieces of software. So now they're hunting and packing across 12 CRUD databases to get the job done.
Right.
And we're surprised why productivity is down.
Yeah. Well, we've created software to solve the problems that software created for us, right?
Yes.
It's got super complex. One of the things that's super interesting about this is you were one of the first people to tell me about agents.
Yeah.
Right? I think you were one of the first people. What was it the moment that you were like, okay, the AI has fundamentally changed tasks, right? Because even you just said 20 minutes, there's use cases that would have taken weeks or months, is now done in hours. And the agentic experience is something where like this multiplier gain happens. Like in your opinion, like when did you start to see like, oh, this agent play is going to be real?
Well, at first, the obvious one was the agentic interface.
Yes.
The UX of it exists today of multiple tabs, which you and I know is just a graphical view of the underlying tables in your database schema. Right?
That's it.
We're literally, the UXs that we know are people hunting and pecking across an Oracle database. So obviously it's the wrong navigation. Somebody's trying to do something, but what somebody would have to do is like, I want to do this. Okay, now I have to remember how to hunt and peck across the software application to go do this.
Totally.
Whereas if I understood the schema, and if you solve a certain set of jobs, then if somebody knows this, AI is very good if you train to translating down to a set of actions.
Absolutely.
So that was the first one. The one that's got really interesting was there is a set of jobs that an agent is actually better, an autonomous agent. Not autonomous, it's not like AGI, but an agent just doing the job instead of a human, it's just better at.
Yeah.
In terms of the rate of knowledge or what they need to know or the steps they have to do, they're just going to be better at. So look, probably in the last 18 months, a year is on the agentic interface on the what I call co-pilot or assistant.
Yeah.
It probably 6 to 9 months on the agent stuff. But I remember going in, because look, we have companies that we started investing in 2016, 17.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you the number of companies that I walk in and I go like agents. They're like, oh, you're just like a VC and agent. And I'm like, no, F you. Your product sucks. And then they would argue and they would argue and they'd argue. I said, let me explain something to you. If I went to a customer tomorrow and said, use this software, or for the same price, you could hire 2 of the smartest people. So let's just say somebody's selling sales enablement software. Instead of buying the software, you can have a dedicated person who works 24/7, who's the best person in sales enablement, in a day knows everything about your company, and they'll never complain and they work around the clock. Which would you hire? They're like, well, I'd hire that person.
Yeah, of course.
And I said, that's what your software has to be.
Yeah.
And that's
Unbelievable.
And when you say that, it's very interesting. People go, oh.
That's the
But
comparison.
like, I got to tell you, like, God forbid, I haven't written code since high school, right? I used to go to Atari camp because you could play Dig Dug at lunch, but it was so funny. I'd be like, I'm many companies, and I'd be, hey, so how do you people know what goes on with the product? And I go, oh, just go get Chatbases, $99, upload all of your information, your product there, and then create a Slack bot and ask people to ask the question. And you'll be done in like 3 hours. And they come back and they go, oh shit. And then that first moment, like anybody's journey with AI, you need that first thing.
Yeah.
Then they're just hog wild. Now they're like,
100%.
They've just gone hog wild.
Yeah.
Like the dev leaders would be like, I'd hear, we haven't heard, this is what I would just be like, we haven't had our customers ask for AI. Shut up. No one's asking for AI. They're asking, can you give them a software that does their job better?
They want the outcome. They want the outcome.
Shut up. but like it's been really weird.
Yeah.
I have to give the push, and then they go, oh, which is different than the AI native people. The AI native people are different. Where like they try to do too much because their developers get 1 hour of sleep, and I'm like, guys, you gotta pick some paths here.
Why do you think there's such defensiveness in the AI first approach, right? Like, or maybe not that for the folks who are not AI first, but the ones that have to make that transition.
I still think thinking of AI in an old ML world. I can do something smarter. They're not understanding that the new way that somebody wants to go work, et cetera. And I also think the ones that are less attuned to it are the ones who aren't using AI in their daily life. Like I watch my wife. She went to the Kennedy School, went to the business school. She's like the preeminent expert on charter schools and affordable housing, et cetera. She's like the shadow czar of our town. She never runs for office, but they all like make sure don't upset the shadow czar. And then when they disagree with her, like, I haven't won an argument in 28 years. I'm like, you have no idea what's coming to you. But her job is she synthesizes all this information, legislation, et cetera, and then writes on it, creates charts, et cetera. So I introduced her to ChatGPT. I introduced her to Canva, et cetera. And now, and then deep research, and she's just like, whereas like my two leftist kids, they're like, oh yeah, he's evil. My wife who's older than me, she's like, you're an idiot. Right? So like, but there's this journey you go on.
You have to.
You have to use it in your personal life. And then it clicks.
I love that example. And it seems to be a common theme of anyone who's very AI forward right now is it starts in the personal life, right? And even for me, I use ChatGPT all day long in my personal life. When my daughter asked me questions, I asked her if she had ChatGPT first. My father and my brother, when they asked me questions, I asked if they had.
Did you short Google when I shorted Google when I started using ChatGPT as my primary search interface?
No, but I should have. My wife works in finance, so everything has to get approved that I do. So that's a whole different story. But that's what's crazy. And one thing that I want to touch on, and I don't know how far you want to take this, but I remember having a conversation with Josh Arnoff. He got off the phone with you one day. He's like, Brett just blew my mind. I was like, why? He's like, he told me, all the opinions on how UIs are changing and how products going away with UI. And so, even in your intro, you mentioned the green screen to the tabs. I'm curious, like, where do you think software goes as it relates to the UI layer?
As least as possible.
Yeah. Why is that?
Somebody wants to do their job. They don't want to use software.
Yeah.
So the more you can do with the less nav that somebody has to do, the better you are. And the irony is, in this world, I was giving a presentation to a bunch of designers like a couple months ago, and they were all worried, like, oh, well, like, if screen real estate doesn't matter anymore, what happens to design? And I said, interesting, your job is a lot more interesting and important. Because you're a use case designer.
Yeah.
You're solving for a use case.
Totally.
Because I always ask technical founders, I go, you use Cursor? Yeah. I go, is it a technical marvel or is it a UX marvel? And they go, it's a UX marvel. Yeah. So it's the least amount of software as possible. To do the job.
Super interesting.
How many screens are in ChatGPT?
One.
Yeah.
That side panel.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that side panel a little bit more easily accessible, but that's a different story.
And remember which is a project and which is not.
But totally. What's so interesting is I actually saw a post from a VC the other day that says, hey, we're looking to hire a designer to be a founder in our portfolio. And that was the first time I had thought about it. I was like, wow. And because you're right, the UI and the interface is super interesting, especially with chat. Like today, I'll be honest, before this interview series, I was talking to ChatGPT for like 30 minutes on what the best interview folks do to make their guests have the best interview. It was a fantastic experience. It was unbelievable. Why would I not want to operate like that all the time?
You would.
I would.
Well, I think the interesting thing is we have yet to figure out the new UX paradigm.
Sure.
If the old UX paradigm was tabs, is the new one like a chat co-pilot?
Yeah.
The reality is, in my mind, where we're going to go with AI is that you're going to have AI generated on the fly for what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And actually, I want to switch gears because, this is something that you and I have talked about, and I think this is where you've been very influential for me is this concept that there's a lot of opportunity for solutions professionals, right? And folks who know my journey, solutions leader, startup, Salesforce, start my own business, and I was like, I'm going back to tech. I'm going to run all go-to-market and bring a solutions mindset to the business. And I think it's been a superpower for me. It's been an unlock. Someone that we've mentioned multiple times already, like Josh Arnoff, doing the same thing right now. I'm curious your perspective, because I'm fairly biased in this, is like, why are solutions professionals so well positioned in this next era of software?
Well, the SEs were my peeps when I ran product at Salesforce.
I love that.
Here's my belief. Do I believe that sellers, and I'll redefine what I think sellers are get replaced by AI?
That was in my next question.
No, I don't. I mean, there's some products that are utilities and you sign up and okay, fine. But the biggest difference is back to what changed with the Salesforce playbook and the playbook now. If you think about what I'm an expert on a playbook for, it is for a software product where there's so much friction between the software you actually deliver them and the job they're trying to get done. So we have tons of explainers. We have SDRs, we have great product marketing, great messaging. We have SEs who translate, oh, what do you want to do? And did the screen and the demo go well? And then in enterprise companies, we have value sellers. And then there's like account managers and the rest of it. All of this shit, they're good people. We're explainers. Yeah. We had to have all these explainers because this gap existed. So now if you move into an agentic world where the product either does the job to be done very evidently that someone wants to do, or it does not. Yeah. Now, there's still a comparative of does it do the job better than somebody else. So in that world, it was always ridiculous that an SE would do 80% of the selling work, but never take the AE job because they didn't want the risk. It's not like it's not like their base pay as an SE was that much higher than the base of an enterprise rep, right? Right?
I get it.
So it was always weird.
I get it.
It did 80% of the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Part of the reason I started PSC was that dichotomy.
So my belief is if the discussion in selling very quickly gets to, there's discovery, you're quickly going, I believe these are the jobs you want to be done. These are important to you. These are the challenges you have today. Wonderful. Let me show you how we solve those jobs to be done. There's no like 3 meetings in between. And so if that's the question, whoever's having that conversation is one person.
Yeah.
So so I think down market, AEs are SEs.
Ooh, let's go.
I think AEs are SEs.
Yep.
They have to know the product.
Have to.
And in many of them, they're activating.
Yeah, they are.
They're actually implementing.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
Now, for deployed engineer, that worked for Palantir, because Palantir was now they found their measure with AI. It was a custom platform. Yeah. So everyone's before deployed engineers are like, okay, dude, that means your product isn't easy to understand and you need somebody to like stitch it together. Don't go too crazy. Up market, I think the SEs become the AEs.
Okay. So even in up market.
So down market, I think the AEs, there is no SE down market. The AE either knows the product or they're irrelevant.
Okay.
And I think up market, the SE becomes the AE.
Okay. I am so happy you went there because I want to go there, right? Because this has been something that I've been pretty passionate about. And I think, let's start with the down market. The idea that there's a BDR, an AE, an SE, PS, CS support, just asinine, right? For especially low ACVs. What does that actually mean for the SC to be the AE, and what are the skills they have to possess, in your opinion?
Well, I don't have the complete answer in this.
That's okay.
In my mind, one, if the conversation quickly gets to, hey, here's the product, this is a job to be done, can you see it's doing it? Then what's the initial selling that has to be done? And so what I have to think about is what is all the selling we had to do that only an AE could do that an SE didn't want to do that now goes away because of all of this noise.
Right.
Now, I still think SEs need to ask for the money. They don't like doing that.
They don't like doing that. Can't a frontline manager do that?
Sure. But at the end of the day, I think, so there's asking for the money, and then there is, look, you got a multi-thread.
Yeah.
But outside of that, look, in most enterprise deals, people don't buy because of the AE. They buy because the SE crushed it and they trust the SE.
Totally.
I think the big question within this process is, how do we think about how the customer interacts with the product during evaluation? So like I have a native company, we look at, when we give a demo, people are great, and then we actually do a custom demo. We call it, it's not a trial. We get the customer's data. Give us some of your data. Let me show it to you with your data. Oh, shit. And then there's the question of, okay, what if they want to go hands-on? And the question there is that a POC? is that a trial,
Yeah.
or honestly, it's a $250K deal with a 90-day out.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing more on like, if you have a product that somebody looks at and goes, oh my God, what is that product?
Yeah.
Does that actually work? I can't believe that works.
Right.
It does. So normally you think, oh my God, but it's now it's all, that can't work and risk.
Yeah.
And you just go, look, I don't know, it's 250 grand. You can use it for 90 days, but you need to do this and this and this. If all companies shouldn't do this, but if you're confident that what you're selling to has context going to solve and you can make them successful, go do that.
Yeah.
Because the first time they're in, within a week, customers are like, oh my God.
It's the aha moment.
Aha moment.
Yeah.
And so then what is the sales process?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a fascinating question, a fascinating example. And I think too many times we're building roles and functions around the internal structure versus like the customer aha moment and why they buy and the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing, and I was just on with the founder today, he thought he had a deal. It was going to be a big deal. And he got a text, and the text was like, thank you. We did the reference call. We're going to get back to you in 2 weeks. We're still figuring an internal process. And I said, well, dude, do you understand? Like, he's the first time as a seller at a large deal. Like, you have to understand, you have to identify what are all the reasons why they wouldn't buy destination.
Right.
And you need to check those off.
Yeah.
And so SEs need to do that. But like, at the end of the day, if the SE is really bringing the trust in the product of solving the issue, and you can see that it's solving the problem, like, I don't think the rest of the stuff is hard.
I agree with you. And I think with so much of the AI and the innovation, so much of the mundane tasks that the BDRs and the salespeople did is automated at this point, right?
Yeah, and the SE could be like, well, I didn't want to have to update Salesforce. That's all going to get updated.
It's all updated. I mean, we use deep research. Inbound demo request comes in.
Yeah.
Deep research is done automatically. Everything is done for you.
Right.
So you just have to show up and do a good job. I think where I really want to dig in is on the enterprise, because I am having this conversation with a lot of folks, right? One of the examples that, I kind of broke the news on was when Salesforce Agentforce AEs, like a lot of them were SEs. Most of them were SEs. And that was a profile they chose to sell that consumption-based product. And the conversation I'm still going through with people, and I really would love your point of view, is can the SC be the AE upmarket? Why? And you've already said yes, but I really want to know why.
Well, look, I think at the end of the day, if you have an agentic product that works pretty well, and you're an SC today, if you don't become the AE, why am I going to pay you a lot as an SE if the product just does what it does?
Yes.
There's no translation layer.
Right.
The value you offer is translating their needs into some configuration that you showed them, and you did a day of the life and this magic talk track. Well, we don't need that anymore. And so like, either the AEs really understand how to use the product, or the SEs who really understand the product move up. I mean, I don't have the perfect answer. I'm just saying there's one role there.
There is. And what's been so interesting that I've been reflecting on a lot is we've been taught in the last decade of sale that, the product doesn't necessarily matter as much, right? It's the value and, it's the process and being multi-threaded. But some of the things that I've heard you say from early Salesforce to now is like actually delivering value in the product matters more than ever today.
Yes.
And in my opinion, we've had this last decade and a half of software of over-promising and under-delivering and products that don't actually do what they say they do, which is why you don't put people in trial. That's why you don't let them get hands-on.
Right, because there's too much explanation.
Explanation, and the products don't always work.
Well,
and they don't deliver the value, right?
You're selling despite the product.
Right, but I think what you just mentioned though is like the product matters in this era more than ever. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is? Is it the sins of the last decade? Like, are we paying this
No,
for? Like, what is it?
Back to my thing, like non-agentic software doesn't do work for you. It does not do stuff. You do stuff in it.
Yeah.
You do stuff outside of it. It doesn't help you do your job. It doesn't do thinking.
Right.
I mean, you could say Canva is helpful. It helps me do my job. It's a tool that I use that I think and I go do.
Sure.
Okay, fine.
Sure. There's some use cases.
There's some use cases, but like, that's why.
Okay.
And so because it doesn't help you do your job, you've had to become go-to-market experts at explaining that friction. So like, that's the amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
If you can build a product that somebody goes, oh my God. Yeah. It's so much easier.
So much easier.
to run that business. Now, it's much easier for somebody else to copy that product,
That's fair.
but it's so much easier to run the business.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for the solutions professionals out there that are thinking about making the leap, but are nervous to? Like you already mentioned the comp situation, right? Like what advice do you have for those folks out there? Because I'm seeing more and more of them, and I've been encouraging people, take the leap, go do an AE role. You're already prepared.
Well, one, I would say, if you want to be an SE at a company you're excited about, not work at some legacy Oracle or something, you have to make the switch.
Yeah.
And two, I would go make the jump to a company that has agentic solutions.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to those organizations, they're going to be like, oh yeah, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard of a leap.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I appreciate it. I think a lot of people are afraid of the risk. They're afraid of the forecasting. They're afraid of, the asking for money. But there's so many softwares out there now that do a lot of that stuff for you.
Yeah,
right?
asking
There's
for
data.
money is pretty straightforward. Like at the end of the day, look, do you have this problem? You do discovery. Is this the problem they want to solve?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they understand how you solve it?
Yeah.
Okay. You have to explain how you solve it better than somebody else. SCs do that anyways. AEs aren't doing that. AEs like, I got this kill sheet. Let's send it over. Oh, great. You send it over now. Our competitor has it. That's wonderful.
Okay.
And then it really is just down to a trusted, honest conversation.
Right.
But I'd go somewhere agentic.
So, you're obviously investing in seed stage companies. What is it about some of these agentic first experiences that you're very excited about? Like, where are you and Bonfire placing your bets?
Well, we start with vertical over horizontal.
Why is that?
It's a shit ton easier.
Yeah.
In an AI world, which is all about context, if you go within a vertical, you have out of the gate a lot of context. I'm solving this sort of issue, these set of issues, et cetera. It's also easier from a go-to-market perspective. No, historically, these have been smaller markets, but the reality is the second you deliver an agentic solution, they're gonna be like, oh, can you do this? Can you do this?
Yeah.
They would like to, everybody wants to consolidate. They want to consolidate all their stack as possible. So it gives you an opportunity to become the OS for them if you deliver.
Yeah.
We will do horizontal, but the founders have got to be amazing.
What does that mean from a founder's amazing? Multi-time exits, just super innovative, technical?
Showman, storyteller. It's so much about creating movement.
Yeah.
Because it's so noisy out there.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to have a very, very strong point of view. You've always had to.
Yeah.
Like at Siebel or at Salesforce, we were protesting no software. You either are
Such a great story.
you either for or against something.
Yeah.
In this world, in horizontal, you got to be very strong.
Right.
Et cetera. And it's probably not for the faint of heart. It's somebody that's probably been a founder before.
Yep.
But not for too long with too old of a playbook who brings an old playbook mindset to this. Look, at the end of the day, the interesting thing, what you could basically say is that the technology is being completely commoditized.
Yeah.
At Salesforce, we took 65 cents of every dollar collected and bought Sun servers and to put them data centers at Equinix in San Jose. We ran our own data centers.
Wow.
Poor Klaus Bolt, we're running data centers. Okay. All of the stack is getting commoditized, and now reasoning inference is super cheap.
Yeah.
So what has always been the case is actually now the case. Are you amazing executors? Can you, as a founder, attract the highest density of high quality talent that is going to work unrealistic hours because they're so excited about what you're doing? Can you iterate super quickly?
Yeah.
Can you out-iterate and out-deliver the competition? That's what we look for. But it's hard. Like I'm meeting, you have 4 weeks, it's 5 people, and you got to sort of, validate that.
Yeah, I love that insight. Maybe just one last question on that, right? Because as we've already talked about, the pace of innovation is just insane right now, right? So how are you evaluating companies and what they're solving today and where they can go? Because it seems like competitive moats are disappearing overnight.
One, the good news at Seed, I can see cool products today. In the old days, you like a wedge product with 2 devs, but when I raise my A and my E,
of course.
we'll have this. So you could see amazing products right now. It's generally a wedge, right? It's either a broader product for a small segment of a market or a wedge for a broader segment of a market. I have to look at that wedge and understand what is the founder's vision, how that wedge expands. and what's the aptitude for that buyer to expand that wedge?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Because in my mind, there needs to be enough context. So if what you're solving, you don't have enough metadata, it's not a business.
Yeah.
In the old days, we would call that like a feature, not a company. And these days, that's something that somebody just does internally with an agent.
Right.
Because internal build now is super powerful.
It is.
So
really is.
that's one. We look to see if there's proprietary data.
Yeah.
It could be if they've got strong ML thing that over time with that data, if they tell me if I can see and understand how their their agent could be smarter.
Yeah.
And then honestly, it's really looking at the founder.
Yeah.
And they have to be a little crazy because startups are crazy. And more so than ever, they have to have a nose for revenue.
Yeah.
So the best is like the technical founder that can close.
Yeah.
Because that first 5 million they're closing.
Yeah.
We're not hiring a VP of sales
Wow. Love that.
at $1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
It's changed a lot.
Well, it's really important because remember, it's all about the product and are you sitting in the pain, et cetera.
Yeah.
So when that founder has to sit in those calls, in those demos, in those things, and then they quickly go, okay, I got to iterate this.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Before I go higher.
Of course.
Yep.
Brad, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate your time. I've appreciated all your insights over the last couple of years as well. And I'm excited to try to have this conversation again in 6, 12, 18 months from now and see how much has changed.
Hopefully I'll know something about it.
You will.
All right,
Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Great.
Take care.